Hi guys, welcome to our book club. Today it will be the fifth and the last session of the second book of 2023. Remember that the name of the book is The Vegetarian, a book written by Han Kang. And today we will continue discussing the third and the last chapter of this book, which name is The Flaming Trees. So let's just begin. As I was commented to you, today we will continue discussing the third and the last chapter of this book. So far, as a summary, of the story, remember that John Hee, it is the main character. It is a woman that she stopped eating meat and then she developed some mental problems because of that. Right now, she is in a psychiatric hospital and her sister is in charge of her. So 3 weeks ago, she disappeared, and the hospital called her sister like, hey, your sister disappeared, so we cannot find her. They found her. They called her again, like, we found her, and she's like, okay, so I will just go to my usual, visit. When she is going to the hospital, this chapter begins. And as you know, we were saying last session, this sister, that is, her name is Inhi. Inhi started having some flashbacks, some thoughts. And, through those thoughts, we know a little bit more about the main character, but also what happened with some other characters, in the story. For example, we know what happened with her husband after, the video he recorded. Also, we know how is the relationship, in her family. And she is feeling weird as well. I think that right now she is having so many responsibilities, plus she has to take care of her son, and she is just about to explode, or not explode, but she's having, like a lot of insomnia nights, so she has not been able to sleep very well recently. And well, the chapter, this Flaming Tree chapter, it begins with her, like going to the hospital in order to visit her sister. And all this journey, to the hospital, and then asking, the nurses where, how she was and where she was and stuff like that. That was the last session. This session, it is when Inhi finally sees her sister, and also, all the thoughts and what happened, and obviously it is the end of the story. So far, well, as I told you, Inhi sees her sister. Her sister is really in a very, very bad condition, because she has not been eaten anything since days. I think it is the fourth day or the fifth day, since she hasn't, like, eaten anything. So right now, her stomach and the gastric acids and everything, well, the consequences of not eating, she is vomiting blood. And well, it is describing, that you could see her bones, that she doesn't look like a human. She looks, like very, very thin, like a teenager, like a very young person, but not very healthy, obviously. And in the same hospital, she has, it's not a friend, it's like a taker. It's not a taker, 1 second. It's a carer, it's a person who takes cares, of John Hees. It's also a patient from the hospital, but she is able to, to take care of some of other patients, so it is kind of her job. So she's taking care of Young Hee, and she's like, no, it's telling the sister, no, she doesn't want to eat anything, not even fruit, not even nothing, not even water. She's vomiting. We tried, to give her her medicine, but she is, like, fighting. She's very rude. You won't think that she is very strong, but she is when she is on those kind of situations. So, and well, in he is trying to do her best because she's like, I will try at least one last time to give her food, and then if not, remember that the last time we were discussing that if she doesn't receive food, she will be she won't be connected to anything. They will put like a tooth in her throat in order to feed her. So it's very invasive. So they need like a surgery and stuff. It's serious. So it is the last resource. So in he arrives to to the room where her sister is, and well, she describes the scene as very sad, to be honest, because well, she's there and it's like, but it is in bones, like she's not my sister. She changed a lot. And she has like a lot of toppers, a lot of containers with food. She opened them, she tries, like, oh, this is your favorite this is your favorite fruit. And she tries to give, like pieces of fruit, pieces of food in her sister's mouth, but her sister is not responding, to be honest. She tries to call her, she tries to speak with her, but she's not responding. And well, it is almost impossible. She is also, during all this time, she's having these thoughts, these flashbacks about her childhood, the difficulties she must be having through, or like her husband, she did something unforgivable and how come, but also that she never experienced, like life. Also, she blames a little bit herself because when she turned 19, she just left her house, but she left her sister, and her sister is just the consequences of probably the education she received from her parents. And she remembers also the situation with her father hitting her sister, and that her father has this angry well, he doesn't know how to manage her anger and stuff like that. She's having like a lot of thoughts. And then she tries to give food to her sister. Her sister is not talking. She asks questions like, are you insane? Are you really, like lost your mind? And she also confessed that she's having some dreams, dreams where it's not anything related with blood, but she's having weird dreams, some nightmares, and she cannot dream more than an hour in a row. So well, at the end they are not talking. It's just like a monologue from in here. She gives up, decided, to close everything. And remember that in the previous chapter, we knew that the doctor told her, like, she is with a very, very serious um degree, stage with anemic, and also she is paranoid. She's suffering from paranoia and schizophrenia. So she's not taking pills. She still, believes that maybe it's not like a tree, but she is, well, Yonhee, it's a very weird, chapter, because there are flashbacks and they are just separated by these um one second, guys, this underscore that is just, the change of characters or the change of situation, so you have to be very careful. But during this, we have like a lot of information about the family situation, the regrets, the blame, the guilt. We have like a lot of thoughts. And well, at the end, the doctor says, like, there's nothing we can do. So they are just about to connect in Yonhee to a machine in order to feed her. They ask their sister to leave because this is a very traumatic and shocking scene for family, for relatives, but she decided not to abandon the room. And yes, it is a little bit, when they describing when the author describes the scene, I think, yeah, obviously it's a little bit hard to read because you imagine, and of course, you know, having a beloved one to have, this tube through her throat. And also the first attempt, in the first attempt, Young-hee, I don't know how, but she closes her throat and the tooth cannot pass through. So it's like again, but the girl is moving, the girl is suffering, and even if he hasn't eaten anything, she's quite strong. So everybody's amazed because of that. At the end, they could do it. They tried to give her food, but they also comment that they may need to give her some sedatives because otherwise she, as soon as they feed her, they vomit everything. So they are just about to do that when she is starting, like not ceasing but like vomiting blood. So they say like, no, it is impossible, like this last resort doesn't work. So they are telling the sister like, hey, you have to take her to a hospital. So in she accepts because at the end it's a very traumatic thing to see, vomiting blood, very thin, like she is finally screaming, not even talking but screaming, like she doesn't want to eat, like she doesn't like it. So at the end her sister feels that is quite her responsibility to stop that and to stop her suffer, and we kind of feel that she's just about to die and that she won't do anything in order to stop it. In the book finish when they are just moving in here to a hospital, but the sister says like, for herself, and I think as a way of like confessing a secret to her sister in the ambulance of before, that if her sister wouldn't be the crazy one, probably she would be the one who explodes. And also we know that she feels a little bit alone and sad because of her husband. And even if her husband tried to contact her, she's like, no, this is unforgivable. And she knows that he won't contact her again because she rejected twice. She rejected him twice. And also we know that because of the stress and the responsibilities and all the life or the situation that changed in her life, she also had some troubles with her period or something like that. She mentioned that she was bleeding for almost like a month and she didn't want to go to the hospital because she was scared of, what if I'm sick, what if I have this disease or that disease. So at the end, when she was brave enough, she went and nothing serious happened. So, like she was developing also so many um, mental issues or thoughts that she couldn't tell anybody because she was quite alone with the kid. And I think that at the end of this book, I can tell that it is quite a critic to society because sometimes it is a Korean book. So obviously this critic probably it doesn't fit completely to the Mexican culture. But I think, in part it could happen the same in both countries. That sometimes the peer pressure, the social pressure, everything is too much for some people or for everybody, that we start developing these mental diseases like anxiety or like what else, I don't remember any other for the moment. Oh yeah, I have heard that people is having these fear attacks. So we are developing a lot of mental things because we don't express the things that we really want to because of society or because we are not with the correct people or in the correct environment, but because of that it arrives a point when we just explode. And I think this is a critique just about that, you know as a reminder that yeah, we need to take care of our mental health and also try to have a really nice communication with your with people that is around you, or if it is not good, at least as good as you can, like do your best not to be quiet. because yeah, it depends on society, but as well it depends on you. So I think that this is a critic. It was a really nice book. It was a little bit weird, but I think it is a nice story at the end of the day. So I hope you have enjoyed it as well as me. And let's just start, reviewing some vocabulary. So give me a moment to connect and to share the screen. Excellent. So we are just ready to start our vocabulary review. And just remember that we are reviewing the third chapter of this book. And that the last session we began with the chapter, but we stopped at the middle. So this session is just, like the rest of the chapter. We stop here when the sister is arriving to the hospital, is greeting, all the nurses. And then, we stop right here when it says, please help me. My head hurts so much I can go on. How can I live like this? Because it's, in these very short paragraphs, it is describing that, some patients confused her with a nurse. So they got close and they were asking for pills, or they were asking for, some stuff. So that's it. So we start with our chapter in this page. And as you may see, I don't have any vocabulary mark, but we will continue with, as I told you, with the sister in her way to see John He. So I don't have any vocabulary here, but this is the name of the lady who is taking care of her. It is he, you, or he, Joe. I think it will be like he, you. And it says the woman is he, you, who is receiving treatment for alcoholism and hypomania. Her body is stood and her, well, it is describing the character. And then it says, well, I don't remember where. Oh, yeah, it says she treads her way out carefully between the patients, taking walls. No, I don't remember where it says that, she's the one who takes care of Yeon Hee. But, it says the sister and I, they are just exchanging some words, like, I have been taking care of your sister, but she doesn't want to eat. And, in he says, like, oh, thank you so much. And, I really appreciate your help. And it says here, how has she been? Just now she vomited some blood. She doesn't eat, so her stomach acid is eating away at her stomach. And she constantly has these convulsions. And now this bleeding too. So, well, it's in a very serious situation. So, the sister, it is just, like, oh, it says, for example, here, because she has these kind of thoughts and flashback, and we know more about the situation. But it says, is Yeon Hee trying to turn herself back into a pre-adolescent? She hasn't had her period for a long time now. And now that her weight has dropped below 30 kilos, of course, there's nothing left of her breast. She lies there looking like a freaking overgrown child, devoid of any secondary sexual characteristics. So her look, it's not like a woman, it's not like a man, it's an overgrown child. It's a big child, That's it. So I don't have vocabulary here, nor here. But as I told you, they continue exchanging information and walking and this, but then I have vocabulary here. So it says at the beginning, in his notes to Hee-ju, the later leaves, then covers John Hee back up with the sheet, adjusting it to make sure that her sister's feet aren't sticking out, saliendo. In his checks for burst veins and finds them everywhere, on both hands, the soles of both feet, even her elbows. The only means of providing John Hee with proteins and glucose is the fort, but no, oh, sorry, but now there are no undamaged veins left where a needle could be put in. Oh yeah, because it is impossible, they put like sueros, these for back, it was like a suero, because she doesn't have any vein, You know, she doesn't have left any flesh, any meat. So that's why it's impossible. So here we have, they tried on numerous occasions to get some gruel into John He. Gruel will be gachas. That is like Asian dish that people prepare when they are, you know, when they have the sore throat, when they cannot eat or to chew anything. This will be like a soup, but a little bit thicker. So in consistency, I think it will be like oat, like avena. But I don't know, you know, what is the flavor of this dish. So gruel will be, you know, gachas. And then it says, oh yeah, it says, they try on numerous occasions to get some gruel into John He by inserting a long tube in her nose. But this had always ended in failure as John He had simply closed up her gullet. Gullet, it would be, you know, la garganta. She closed it, you know, because it's a tube. So she, I don't know what what, you know, she does, but she closes her throat so the tube cannot pass by. And that's it, you know. So gullet, it will be garganta. I don't have vocabulary here, but remember that she, you know, like arrived to the room. They are, you know, she's looking at her sister, and it says, 3 months ago, just after John He had been found in the forest, when In He had arrived at the reception on the scheduled visiting day, she'd been told that John He's doctor wanted to meet with her. This made her anxious, and she hadn't spoken with him since John He had first been admitted. He knows that it disturbs her physiologically if she sees a side dish containing meat. So we've been taking extra care to make sure this doesn't happen. So they don't feed her with meat. They know that she just, you know, like goes crazy. But now she won't even come down to the lobby at meal times. And even if we bring a meal tray up to the ward, you know, el pasillo where she is, she won't eat. It's already been 4 days. She started to become dehydrated. And since she become violent every time we try to put in a drip, you know, the suero, I'm not sure we can even give her the medicine properly anymore. So, you know, for her mental state, they cannot help. And well, it was 3 months ago when she suffered, you know, from the, well, she got lost and they found her. And since then, she's, you know, like instead of improving, she has been decreasing her or deteriorating her state. So there you go. Then I don't have any vocabulary here. And then I have here, you know, John He cut her off. They say my insides have all atrophied. You know, and he has lost for words. John He moved her emaciated. Emaciated, it would be demacrado. So her emaciated face closest to her sister. I'm not an animal anymore, sister. Oh, because she says, so, you know, some words, but they don't make sense. It kind of makes sense because she's talking like she doesn't eat meat and she feels free and she, you know, like it will be connected to the earth. But for her sister, those are just, you know, like crazy stuff. So I don't have vocabulary here, but it says very soon, just a bit longer to wait, sister. Uh, Well, 1 second. It says, what are you talking about? Do you really think you have turned into a tree? How could a plant talk? Can you think these things? John, his eyes shone, you know, the pies of shine. A mysterious smile played on her face. You're right. Soon now, words and thoughts will all disappear. Soon, John, he burst into laughter, then sighed. Sighed, you know, suspirar. Very soon, just a bit longer to wait, sister, you know, like they are not having a conversation, but her sister is asking like a little bit like, are you crazy? Do you feel this? Like, why are you behaving like in this way? And you know, it's like, can you imagine trees who talk? And in John, he's like, but very soon I will stop talking. So be patient. And well, in this scene, she is trying to feed John He, you know, with fruit. Her favorite, it was a peach, so it says it's a peach, John He. And well, I don't have vocabulary here until here. It says, "Do you want to die?" You know, like, are you listening to me? Because she's trying, but he's not responding. So the days, aturdido, days, she examines the hot anger that is boiling up inside her like spume. Spume, it will be like foam. So espuma. Time passes and he turns her head and looks out of the window. The rain seems finally to have stopped, but the sky is still overcast. The wet tree still silent. The densely wooden, densely, as it says, densamente. So, you know, like las copas de los árboles, los árboles. So it says she gets a thermos flask out. So flask, it is just, you know, like this container. So she gets a thermos container, you know, un termo, out of her bag and put Chinese queens. Queens, it will be membrillo. A queen's tea into the stainless steel cup. So, you know, she's also trying to give some fruit. No. Some food. No. Some beverage. Nothing. You know, it's a stride on he. It's infused really well. And then, are you trying to die? She repeats silently. Are you trying to die and this and that? Sister, please let me out of here. Oh, yeah, this is John He. People are always telling me to eat. I don't like eating. They force me. Last time I threw it up. Yesterday, as soon as I'd eaten, they gave me an injection to put me to sleep. Sister, I don't like injections. I really don't like them. Please let me out. I don't like being here. So, you know, the few words they exchange, and she's telling this. And that's why, you know, like in here start having these contradictory thoughts and feelings. So, I don't have vocabulary here. You know, like everything is very understandable. And here we have such violence wouldn't have bothered their brother Yun Ho so much. A boy who went around doling. Doling it will be, or doling out, it will be repartiendo his own rough justice. So, you know, like a little bit of violence for her brother was nothing because he was also not violent, but also he like defending himself, you know, like justice. So, oh yeah, because in this case, she is describing the relationship like, okay, I'm a woman, I'm the eldest one, but I left my house at 19. Then my brother, but my brother is also married. And then my sister was the one who like stay at home, who was living with my parents, who was maybe not the victim, but who was, you know, like the target of their father or her father's anger or stuff like that. So she's having these thoughts here. So then we have, instead, she had merely absorbed all her suffering inside her, deep into the marrow of her bones. Marrow, it will be tuétano, the thing that is inside your bones. So here we have John. He said, nothing, only stood and watched the flaming poplars kindled by the evening night. So the poplars, it will be Los Pilares, it will be Los Alamos, and kindled, it will be encendidos by the evening light, you know? Vocabulary here, no, until here, it says the paddock. And the paddock feature, well, it says his stones. But the pieces, it is like, it's a game that looks like chess, but instead of having figures like the king, the queen, they have stones, white and black stones. So the board, it seems to be chess, but I don't know about the rules. Maybe, you know, the game is not the same. So I don't have vocabulary here, but oh, in this part, I think it is in, oh yeah, his her husband. It says he called her just once. It was around 9 months ago and close on midnight. Perhaps he'd been calling from somewhere far away because there was a brief lag after the sound of the call tumbling. So, you know, the ring, it was ring or something, and then it take, you know, its time, its seconds. I want to see Ji Woo. That's the son, the name of the son. He he also familiar voice, low at tense. She could tell she was struggling to sound compose. And she was like, oh, you don't have any song, I don't know you. And it says here that he tried to call her again. Oh yeah, it says, I don't know you, she muttered, tightening her grip on the receiver. You know, the receiver, the speaker. But was still clutching. Clutching, it is apretando. So the cradle sorry. I don't know you, she muttered, tightening her grip on the receiver, which she'd hung back in the cradle, but was still clutching. Oh yeah, the cradle, in this case, cradle means cuna, but since they are talking about the phone, the cradle, it would be the thing that you know to just put or to just hang the speaker, or in this case, it is called the receiver, and that's it. They are talking about the phone, so she did this. And it says like she disconnected, and that was the last time she knew about her husband. And well, here I have, he looks at John, his prominent cheekbones. Remember the cheekbones, those are the cheekbones. Her hollow eyes, hollow, you know, like sumidos. And it says her sunken chin, sunken, it will be hundido, hundido, hundidas. She feels her sister rage breath. So rage, it will be irregular. So, you know, her my bad, my bad. Her breath and her breath was, you know, irregular. So rage. Uh, oh yeah, well in this part, John he is telling her sister why she was in that place, you know, where she was found. I heard something. I went there because I heard something calling me. I don't hear it anymore. Now I was just standing there waiting. Waiting for what? And she's like, waiting, you know? I melted in the rain. It all melted. It'd been just about to go down into the earth. There was nothing else for it if I wanted to turn myself upside down again. Do you see? Jiho's excited tone jolts. So jolts, it will be sacudida in he out of this memory. So what can do we do about John He? They are saying she may die. In he judged his words sounded like a deafening roar of a plane taking off. Oh, well, I'm so sorry. This is not a conversation. It was just a memory. But the memory that John he says, you know, her sister, like she went to the place where she disappeared or she walked until there because she listened to something, she heard something, and she wanted to know what. And then it was a raining. Remember that she got lost when there's no rain, and then she was found some hours after you know the rain started, so she was wet, and Cicely she wanted to melt, you know, with the rain she was melting. So oh yeah, well here she is, you know, like remembering what happened with the video and the flowers and all that kind of stuff. And then he said, it has been a period of time utterly devoid. The void will be desprovisto, the void of happiness and spontaneity. And well, it is opposite the platform was a row of temporary buildings. There are still structures now decaying. Decaying it will be en descomposición, decadencia. Then we have here her devotion to doing things the right way had been unflagging, incansable. Uh, 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 um, Oh, well, she is describing here, for example, that she has been like bleeding for a very long period of time, and one day she decided just, you know, to go to the hospital, but it was after like a month, like, you know, long period. So it says she fought down her feeling of shame and managed to stop trembling, temblando, before getting up onto the bed. The middle-aged male doctor then pushed a cold abdominal scoop deep into her vagina and remove a tongue-like polyp that had been stuck to the vaginal wall. You know, these tweezers that they are just used for the Papa Nicolau, they are describing those tweezers. And well, it says here like, oh, well, you have been bleeding. This is normal, you know, like you will start bleeding more, but then nothing will happen. So at the end, she's like, oh, I was getting worried and it was nothing. So it says, it had been nothing but a minor niggle, or niggle molestia, you know, queja. Um, Oh, it says, how to explain the 4 months or so that follow on from that day. The bleeding continued for around other 2 weeks. Then the cut healed and it stopped. Oh yeah, because she had something like a little cut inside of her, so that's it. But it says that even though if that cut, that little thing healed, she started feeling this emptiness inside her. She didn't know what happened, but she felt, like weird inside of her. It says somehow it seemed this wound had in fact grown bigger than her, and her whole body was being pulled into its pitch black maw. So then we have here another word that it would be, but in the evenings when she left her employees and walked through the sweltering. Sweltering, it will be suffocante. Night streets, brimming with music and crowded with couples. Oh, because she says that, after she was feeling bad, she kept her mind busy with her song, her business. She was, like doing stuff. But, like when she say goodbye to everybody, that's when everything gets starts. Like it says she dragged her sweat soaked body. Oh no, it doesn't here. So it strays away from the crowds. Well, it says here that she felt it happened around the time when those sweltering, suffocante summer days had started to cool down a little, at least in the mornings and evenings, when he arrived back at the house early one morning. Oh, this is the husband. I think it's the husband. Just 1 second. When he arrived back at the house early one morning. Oh, yeah, this scene. Oh, you know that sometimes the jumps in the story they are like totally different. So it was no complicated, but you have to pay attention to that it was a change of scene. So here she's describing the how she felt with her job and her her life, that she was alone, and that it has been complicated. And here she tries to explain when everything got started, when she started feeling like that. And it says here that everything got started one day, one early morning, when her husband arrived very late. He went to bed and he tried to hug her. And she said, like, like, I don't want to, I'm not in the mood. And he said, like, almost like, shut up, let me do it, just, for a little bit. And she said like she was sleepy and well, like she didn't care at that time. But as soon as she woke up, she felt, like why? I didn't like it. And this and that. And she's describing that those feelings here. So we have it says she left the bedroom and looked out of the dark blue veranda window. The toys that G, who had been playing with last night, the sofa and the television, the black door flaps underneath the sink, and the splotches of grease on the gas range. So it's describing that, she felt bad, but at the end, her son, was her anchor. And splotches of grease, splotches, it will be manchones, So there you go. Manchones de grasa, manchas de grasa. She sat down on the sofa, wore door. Like she's describing her feelings, that it says like all this meaningless, I can't take it anymore, I can't go any longer, I don't want to. But she said that even though if she felt in that way, since she has she has a son, she was like doing it because of her responsibility, because it was the only like supporter, provider. So here we don't have vocabulary nor here. Vocabulary nor here, but it says, until now, still she is feeding her sister, like it's a very long scene because there's a lot of flashback, but it says here, time passes, in he sits back down, she opens the lid of the last container, so still she's trying to feed her sister, but through some flashback and thoughts, we know more a little bit about the situation and what happened, but like before. So here we have some words, and it says, the stillness of the word, without even the sound of breathing, the break silence, is like water lodge. So water lodge, it will be anegado, cotton wool, stopping. Oh yeah. Well, here it says that the word it will be el pabellón, where you know there are a lot of patients there, and it says that it is, you know, like super quiet. Like if you have these cottons in your ears, you cannot, you know, like listen to anything. So then it says a faint breath. Yeah, breath. A faint breath tickles her finger, warm and regular, and his lips twitch minutely. So minutely, minuciosamente. This pain and insomnia that unbeknownst to others, unbeknownst, it is a word that means sin saberlo. That sin saberlo, sin que los otros lo supieran, you know, the pain and insomnia that, unbeknownst to other, que los otros sin que lo supieran, now has in he and its grip. Grip, no, it will be el agarre. My vocabulary here. Oh, well, here is describing that, you know, since she is living this situation with her husband that divorced her sister, and she is feeling weird and stuff, her son is her anchor. Like, you know, she's doing everything because of him. But also, his son is realizing that her sister is not good, you know, is not in a really nice state of mind. And in this scene, she's describing that the only time when she feels good is when she laughs, because as soon as she laughs she feels like empty of all those bad negative feelings, so she like laughing. And it says that her son knows about it, so that's why her son all the time is telling these dumb jokes, or is, you know, like behaving in a funny way in order to make her mother laugh. And well, it is just describing that. And then we have here that says, there is no way for him to know how guilty it makes his mother feel. Seeing such a young child go to such length just to wring a bit of apparent happiness from her. You know, she knows that she will fake sometimes. So wringing will be exprimir, extrujar, you know, like para sacar lo mínimo, you know, to bring a bit of apparent happiness. So, well, I know still it is the sister, and here. Then it says here. Okay, so all this, and then again with the sister in the room, and it says, time passes, and he puts the lids back on all the containers. So firstly, she arrives well, she, you know, has this chat, this, you know, small talk with the person who is taking care of her sister. She arrives, you know, to the room. She opens the container. She tries to feel her sister. They are trying, you know, to have a conversation, and then she closes, you know, the containers. While this scene is happening, all the thoughts and all the things that we have been, you know, telling. So that's why, you know, we should pay attention to 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 these, you know, underscores, because they divide the scenes. So shedding its skin, shedding it will be, oh yeah, because it says, what other dimension may John his soul have passed into, having shrunk off flesh like a snake shedding its skin? Oh, because, you know, she doesn't have meat. So it says that it seems like a snake shedding its skin, como una serpiente muda su piel. So shedding it will be descamarse, mudar. And oh yeah, because at the same time she is like thinking, my sister is a tree, like really, maybe this is this and this is that, and that's why. So it says, in he recalled how young he had looked when she'd been standing on her hands. Had young he mistaken the hospital concrete floor for the soft earth of the woods? Had her body metamorphosed into a sturdy trunk with white roots sprouting from her hands and clutching the black soil? Had her legs stretched high up into the air while her arms extended all the way down to the earth's very core, el centro, and her back stretched on to support these two pronged sport of growth. So, she's asking question like, is it true? Is this possible? Remember that also the sister is having like weird thoughts because of her situation, because of the stress that she's living. And vocabulary, here we have she presses her lips tightly together, clenching her teeth so savagely the blood shows through, wrestling with the desire to get hold of John Hee's insensible face to shake her great-like body hard and hurl her back down on the bed. So rate like it will be que parece, que es, and this it will be que parece fantasma, to shake her great like fantasmal or cuerpo fantasmal, and hurl, it will be lanzar, arrojar, hurl her back down on the bed. I think that she wants to leave the hospital. That's why it says like, you are dying. You are lying there in that bed and dying, nothing else. She presses her lips. So I think that she got desperate, like, hey, what is happening with you? Like, you are dying and you want to die? So I think it is that conversation there. Well, here we have finally this, when they were just about to put the tooth inside of her. Now there's no more time left. In his shoulder her back and pushes back the chair. Walking with the stoop, she hurries out of the ward. When she turned her head, John, his body still rigid and unmoving beneath the sheet. In he clenches her teeth even harder. She walks along, to the lobby. So here, they are just preparing her for putting the tooth and everything. And then it says the flock around the doctor. Oh, because here they are describing that there's a doctor and then also there's it says an intern. Well, here is just the doctor. Well, the doctor is just walking and everybody is like, hey, doctor, I have this, I have that. And also it says the flock around the doctor. So the flock will be el rebaño, la manada. And well, remember that all the people around the doctor, those are patients. And some of them, they are not crazy, but they are not very sane. So, we have different conversation like, hey, did you call my wife? Can you change, my medicine? I have headache. So we have this conversation here. Then it says the internist, and the internist, it will be the helper of this doctor. And between these two characters, they will try, to put the tooth inside John His. So I don't have vocabulary here. And then until here, it says, in fact, her trashing is so wild and rough, it's difficult to believe that she's the same woman. So trashing, it will be, like la paliza, el forcejeo, because every time they are trying to feed her or to give her the medicine, she's moving. And well, she hasn't eaten anything in 4 days, so you will think that she is weak. But they say like, oh no, she's very strong. So leave me alone, leave me alone. That is the thing Yogi is screaming. And it says two carriers. Oh, those are the people who take care, the carriers. And the nurses, 8 grapple. So 8, it will be ayudante, and grapple, lidiar, abordar, with her struggling form. So, like she's like, oh no, leave me alone, I don't want this. And everybody's trying to grab her, to calm her down. Then we have Yankee instantly turns into Inhi, fixing her with her shining eyes. And it says her bound limbs breathe. Breathe, it will be retorcerse. Because, they are taking her to the room where they will put the tooth inside. And it's like, no, I don't like it. I don't want to. So in this case, it's like, well, they ask the sister to leave the room, but she's like, I will be here. So I don't like it. And in this case, like the sister just cross side. They see each other to the eye. And well, it says, I don't like eating, like he helped me and moreover. So it says here, contorted cheeks. Contorted, it will be contorsionado. So you know, she is this. You're here, and please go outside. You are only making things more difficult. So at the end, they ask her to leave the room because she is screaming, and she left. So it says the careers. The careers, it will be the people who take care, los cuidadores. So we have in he takes a step forward, faintly days, days, das. So aturdido. And then it said, damn, it's blocked. Oh, they trying to put the tooth and then it's blocked. Why? Because remember that John, he knows how to close it and open it. And so it says thereby. Thereby, it's also kind of a linker. It's another verb that you can use, and it means así, por ende, solo así. And it says managing to close up her gullet. Remember that gullet, it will be garganta. Or the garganta is the throat, but the muscles inside. It says gullet around the uvula, the uvula. And well, that's it. It says his doctors removed the tooth from her nose. Right, let's try one more time, quicker this time. They do it, they do it. The internet's idle hands are busy all of a sudden. So idle, it will be ocioso, inactivo, desocupado. So her hands that they didn't anything to do before, now they are doing everything at the same time. So remember that he started to send the gruel. The gruel, it will be las gachas, like these thick combination of ingredients that is food. And oh well, they try to feed her, and then they are saying like, okay, but we have to feed her and then to put her to sleep, otherwise she will be vomit. And they are explaining here. So try to grapple her away, and grapple, it is a word that we saw it before. So lidiar, abordar. Then we have Dawn, and he screams her voice out of like a wail, gemido, lamento. Oh, because in this case, she has a tooth, but she's still moving, and since she's moving, she started vomiting blood. So she started, like choking, and in he started, like screaming, like, help her, my sister, like, no, please stop, and this. And the doctors, they are like, quick, like, remove the tooth, blood, and this, and everything is full of blood. Then in here, just like, run to her sister and grab her, and also she is covered by blood because she's vomiting. So the scene is here. It says John, his blood is splashed all over the doctor's white gown. Gown, it will be las batas, even on his roll up sleeves. Roll up, so everything is covered in blood. And well, we have like not a new chapter, but the continuation. And here is the doctor that said, like, we need to transfer her, like, there's nothing we can do for her, and she needs to a hospital. So if you accept it, like this and that, and he's giving the information here. Then we have here, she reels along the corridor, staggering like a drunk, tambaleándose. Desperately trying to keep her balance, she makes her way towards the lobby. All of a sudden, the sunlight is pouring through the window, brightening the gloomy space. It's been a long time since Inhi has seen such light. Some of the patients are sensitive to the light and grow agitated, while the rest of them flock over the window. Sorry. When the rays of them flock over to the window, gabbling excitedly. So flock, se reúnen. Remember the flock is rebaño, manada. So, they are around it. And well, here just the caterer asking, like, what will happen? How is John He? If you go now, something, like, gives you, like, she will just about to die. She just, like, in the very last no moments, but like she's not very long. It occurs to her that John Hee's hair now reminds her of Jigu's when she was still in swaddling. So swaddling it will be envolvete in swaddling clothes. So like a baby. And hi, it's just the mom. Oh well, here it just calling the neighbor like, hey, I have this thing with the hospital. I may arrive a little bit late, so can you just like check my son? Can you just like give it a look, and that's it. So here we have he's a sensitive child, prone to minor illnesses. So prone it will be propenso. And then we have here, of course, it has shocked her at the time. Oh, I think in this case, she is talking about like what will happen with her son as soon as she knew about, the video or what her husband did her, his father did. So it says, she recalls the sight of those two naked bodies twined together like jungle creepers. Of course, it had shocked at her at the time, and yet oddly enough, the more time went by, the less she thought of it as something sexual. Like she doesn't want to think as some sexual. It's just like an event that happened, and that's it. She is not trying to think so much about it. The writing movements of those bodies, writing it will be retorcidos, made it seem as though they were trying to shock off the human. So she's thinking like about the video. And well, like here's a conversation between her and her son. And well, I think it is just like the end of the story now. Yeah, it is still the conversation with her husband, with her son. But she also it is like talking about her family. Mm, so yeah. Well, I don't have vocabulary here. It is just the end of the story. Remember that she's preparing everything to change her sister to another hospital. And well, I think that yeah. So it says she hadn't understood what that cold moisture had been trying to say as it drenched her battered body. So drenched it will be empapado and battered maltratado and spread through her dry up veins. It had simply leached through into her flesh, down her to her very bones. Then he opens her mouth. What I'm trying to say. She whispers to. Oh, this is the end of the story, guys. So, they are in the ambulance, and the sister is telling John He that is just, just about to, not to die, but she remembers he's in a very serious condition. So she says, perhaps this is all a kind of a dream. She bows her head. But then, as though suddenly struck by something, she brings her mouth right up to John He's ear and carries on speaking, forming the words carefully one by one. I have dreams too, dreams, and I could let myself dissolve into them, let them take me over, but surely the dream isn't all there. I'm sorry, but surely the dream isn't all there is. We have to wake up at some point, don't we? Because then she raises her head again. The ambulance is rounding the last bench in the road, leaving Bone Chuseok, that is this hospital, the place where it is. And it says here, the summer sunlight dazzles her, eyes make them sting, and her gaze cannot follow the bird's flight anymore. Quietly, she breathes in. The trees in by the side of the road are blazing green, fire undulating like the rippling flanks of a massive animal, wild and savage. In he stares fiercely at the trees, as if waiting for an answer, as if protesting against something, then look in sorry, then look in her eyes. The look in her eyes is dark and insistent. So that is the end of the book, guys. The book finished with, as I was commenting to you, with this very critic. And well, the story of the lady at the end, it is just like a story. It is very sad what happened with John Hees, and also not just with her, but with the whole family. It was like a very, very dramatic story. And also, I think that it's just a reminder that, as I was commenting to you, that sometimes people is, like with a lot of responsibilities, a lot of, like a big load on their shoulders. So I think sometimes it's good just, to listen to others, to have a conversation, like try to help others, because we don't know. Next to us, we don't know the people who is living, like in their houses, in their minds. So I think it is really important to take care of our mental health. And this story, it is just, like a proof of that. So far, this has been, the second book of this 2023. I hope you have enjoyed the book as much as I did. Vocabulary, remember that at the beginning it was quite complicated, but as you may see right now at the end, there weren't so many words. Some of them because we already recognize them since previous sessions, but as well, like little by little, we got used to the way the author was talking. So remember that practice makes perfect. Thank you so much. It has been really a pleasure to read this book with you. And see you later on in the next reading. Thank you. Bye.